Formula 1 returns to Singapore, with the F1 paddock expecting another crazy race for the third year in succession. Also, following Lance Stroll's difficult start to his Formula 1 career, both Williams drivers had to sit down with the young Canadian following the Italian Grand Prix, and now they both firmly believe that Lance Stroll is ready to race in Formula 1. Taking a look at the qualifying grid for the Singapore Grand Prix, and Josh Chiro would take pole position, but only a half a tenth clear of Valtteri Bottas, who will line up an impressive second for Mercedes. It'd be an all Red Bull second row, with Jean-Eric Vergne once again getting the better of his teammate Daniel Kvyat in qualifying. Will Stevens will line up better than McLaren's in 5th, with Carlos Sainz, leader of the Toro Rossos, in 6th. Sebastian Vettel will start with the lead Ferrari all the way down in 7th, with Sebastian Buemi over 8 tenths slower than his teammate. Fernando Alonso currently managed P9 on the grid, with Max Verstappen rounding off the top 10 for Toro Rosso. Romain Grosjean will line up 11th in the Haas, with Lance Stroll with a very impressive lap to line up in 12th as the lead manner. Sergio Perez will start in 13th for Force India, with Pascal Wehrlein in 14th and the second of the Manners. Hülkenberg will start leading the Renaults in 15th, just ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who starts all the way down in P16, sandwiched in between the other Renault of Daniel Ricciardo. Alex Rossi can only manage 18th on the grid, with the two Saubers starting from 19th and 20th. Esteban Ocon drops 5 places due to a gearbox change to start in 21st, with Rui Haryanto failing to set a lap due to an engine failure in Q1, and Indonesian will start from the back of the grid. Hey guys, Tara here, welcome back to UniONE. This time, round 14 for Season 3, the Singapore Grand Prix. If you didn't miss the race last time out, Italy, definitely do go check that one out. One of the closest finishes in Formula 1 history, if not the closest. Now looking to this race, what can Lewis Hamilton do, starting down in P16, sandwiched in between both the Renaults, starting very out of position. We know from that Ferrari is capable of easily top 5 on their day, but Hamilton starting down in P16 here at Singapore. Let's pull something mighty out the bag if he wants to get a good result here. Same for Rui Haryanto, starting at the back of the grid. You know he can do some magic in that McLaren, and he has to do it again here if he wants to take any points from this race. Now looking into what's starting in pole position, once again it's just something around Singapore that just seems to suit our driving style. I mean, first of all, winning the race in 2014 in the manner, then qualifying 30 last year, finishing I think 4th, now starting on finally getting pole position around the streets, around the Marina Bay Street Circuit, but now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. We get a pretty good start. There's like Bottas going to be beams. No, actually Bottas bogs down in the second phase of the start, so now we're going to be clear into turn 1. Are we coming into turn 1 now? We take a wide line just in case Bottas tries anything up the inside, but no, we're now clear up into P1 with Bottas and Vergne still in P2 and P3. Looks like if they keep battling, this is going to slowly allow us to pull away up in front, which is exactly what we need. Now Vergne's going side by side with Valtteri Bottas now. Looks like Vergne's already made his way past the Finnish driver. Now Vergne moves up into P2. He's got Daniel Kvyat right behind now, all over his gearbox now, trying to make a move on the inside of the game, right in the solution. Now Kvyat's going to look to the inside, is he? Going side by side with Valtteri Bottas, going to force his way up the inside. Now coming into the end of the first sector, Vergne makes a move around the outside, but Daniel Kvyat still going side by side with Valtteri Bottas. Has Bottas just managed to defend from Daniel Kvyat for the time being? Yes, he has. So now Bottas already drops down to P3 and just managed to fend off Daniel Kvyat for the time being. Now cutting onto the end, on the start of the second lap, once again Kvyat is already right up behind Valtteri Bottas. See, Vergne is already starting to pull away from Valtteri Bottas. Once again, the Mercedes just not working around the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Now Daniel Kvyat getting right solution now. It's going to pull to the inside. I've got this contact versus Bottas into the wall. Once again, Bottas into the wall. Oh my god, you just can't script this. Bottas surely must have lost some of his front wing from that. At least he's still going this time. See there? Yeah, Bottas has lost pretty much half his front wing there on the right side, so surely Bottas is going to have to pit now at the end of this lap. So Bottas just has, I can't remember the last time Bottas had a good race. I think the last good race Bottas has had was round 10 at Britain, where he finished in 3rd. Now cutting all the way onto lap 5, it's took this long, but now the Red Bulls are right on the back of us now. Jean-Eric Vergne still leading Daniel Kvyat at this stage, but now you see the proximity area there. Jean-Eric Vergne is all over our gearbox now. I mean, the Red Bull you would expect to work well around this circuit. Of course, with all their downforce, we're running a bit wide there at the final corner. It's going to give Vergne an opportunity to try and make a move on us. Now he's getting in our DRS now. Isn't getting enough now. Try and make a move. He's going to pull to the inside now, coming into turn 1, goes side by side with the Frenchman into turn 1, trying to hold it out right around the outside. Vergne gets a bit of a slide on there on exit. Doesn't get on the power a bit too early, but now we managed to hold it in from the Jean-Eric Vergne. Just for the time being now, once again, Vergne coming down the second DRS straight. Well, once again, obviously has the benefit of DRS. Now, fastest Williams is in a straight line. I imagine that the Red Bull will maybe running a lower drag setup to try and keep with mean way, mean straight line, but now Vern can try and make a move to the outside now. We defend to the inside now, coming up into the end of the first sector. Vern holding it right around the outside. He's going to try, but now we're going to force out Vern. And once again, we just move back into the lead of the Grand Prix for the time being. But you can see, even in with DRS, this time these Red Bulls are faster than us, so it doesn't bode well for me if they can get their act together. And if one of them passes, then you see how easily they caught us up. So we shouldn't have any to try keeping with them if they're trying to get past us. We have to do. I mean, we saw what we did here in 2014 in the manner trying to defend from Lewis Hamilton in that dominant Mercedes to take victory. So we know how to defend around the circuit. It's just the fact that we can, if we can do it or not. Now coming out of this hairpin, we get a terrible exit. Now Vern's going to make a move to our outside now. Going side by side now with Johnny Vern coming up into the third sector. Vern's just going to drive right around our outside. I think that just shows the difference in downforce between the Williams and between the Red Bull. Just got so little traction in the rear of our car, so little downforce. So it gives us these great straight line speeds. But through street circuits like this and through out of low speed corners, as I've said all season, we just get no traction whatsoever. But it seems to Boemi seems to manage it better than what we do. Now coming through the third sector, just have to stay behind Jean-Nic Vern through this sector. There's no way he can make a move on the Frenchman through here. So what if we can stick with him? We should be able to get DRS, and you know how fast this Williams will be. With DRS, it will be loads faster than that Red Bull. It just depends if we keep close enough to Jean-Nic Vern to be able to use a straight line speed to our advantage. You see Vern, he's already half a second ahead of us now after pretty much one sector. Now coming into turn 1, we do gain under braking, so once again we are much later on the brakes than pretty much everyone on the grid. Obviously going for a dive bomb like Ricciardo did at the previous race at turn 1 in Italy. Now coming up into the end of the first sector, now we'll have DRS once again on the back of Jean-Nic Vern, but are we close enough to make a move on the Frenchman now gaining in the DRS? We're gaining, but are we gaining enough? We're gaining loads there. Got so much overspeed on Jean-Nic Vern. Now going to pull to the inside. Oh, Jean-Nic Vern now up into the second sector, going to keep it side by side with the Frenchman. Can he force Vern out once again like we did last lap? I mean, we do. Now we move back up into the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix once again. You can just see behind Vern and Kvyat. You can just kind of see, I don't even know who's in fourth this race. We're so far ahead. Just those three, pretty much dominating this race at this stage. Now cutting all the way on to the end of lap 7 now. It's time for us to come in now for our first stop to go into a set of super soft tyres. It's like Vern staying out for another lap, and Daniel Kvyat followed us in, has he? Yeah, Kvyat followed us in, so Vern going to go for an overcut. I mean, Daniel Kvyat going for an undercut. Now, Williams, can we have a good pit stop from Williams this time? We do. We're going to say Red Bull super soft tyres there, get easily out in front there of Daniel Kvyat. Now the question is, whereabouts are we going to drop out in any of the lap traffic? Because I imagine if it is possible to one-stop this race if you do super softs and then softs in, or softs and super softs, just use those two tyres. It is possible to one-stop this race. And just to see if any of the midfield teams actually do that. But now coming out of the pits, like Daniel Kvyat's been jumped. Daniel Kvyat's been jumped there by Carlos Sainz. So Sainz must have done an undercut, stopped even earlier than me and Daniel Kvyat. So now Carlos Sainz is ahead of Daniel Kvyat for position. Once again, Sainz really is just he's just trying to impress obviously the bigger team, Red Bull. And if he keeps beating them like he is this season, I mean Verstappen there with got second place at Spain. So Carlos Sainz needs to pull out something as well. Because the tension between those two, because Sainz on both Sainz and Verstappen on their second seasons at Toro Rosso, so tension's starting to rise because you know Red Bull only give their drivers 3 seasons. Now cutting onto the end of the next lap, it's like one of the man is there up in front going back with their 1 and 4 Indies now. Going into turn 1, there goes Daniel Kvyat, and there's Vern. Vern's come out another stable top by Vern. He's dropped back behind Daniel Kvyat, Carlos Sainz, and one of the Ferrari. So Vern trying an overcut strategy really hasn't worked for him. Now he's lost 4 positions. But he is on ultra soft tyres, so hopefully he can try and make his way back through the field. But now we've got Alex Rossi right up behind the back. One of the man is now coming into the second section. Can't say which man that is. I think that's possibly Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein there on the soft tyre, so Wehrlein is doing the one stop in this race. Now trying to move on outside the German as well, but we're just a bit too far behind. Of course, the man is, well, on paper, this is the most successful track for the man. Of course, we took the win here for them in 2014. Currently, Pascal Wehrlein is in the points position in P10. And that is legitimate. That is full position because Wehrlein should be doing a one-stop in this race. So Wehrlein is legitimately currently in P10. So, of course, we know how little downforce that man has. So we should be able to try and make a move on the man of Pascal Wehrlein pretty soon. But coming through the sector, we're going to have to stay behind the German, of course, because Pascal Wehrlein will be in the slipstream of Alex Rossi in front. Now coming up into the third sector, once again, we just have to stay behind Pascal Wehrlein. We're just not getting enough on him. Pretty much on very downforce. Pretty much it seems the manner and the Williams are pretty much the same. Wehrlein also on the soft tyre, so we should definitely have the grip advantage to try and get past the German. We're just coming up through this third sector, so we just have to stay behind because there's no way you can make a move through here, unlike what we did to Joseph Krell last season here. And of course, as you can see, Lance Stroll is currently leading the Grand Prix, so it seems the talks me and Buemi had with Lance Stroll after the previous race really seems to have worked. Now we're all up the rear of Pascal Wehrlein, now coming out to the end of the lap now, end of lap 9, start of lap 10. Now we've got the DRS on the back of Pascal Wehrlein, but Wehrlein just about has DRS still off the back of Alex Rossi. In front of me now, that man is a complete bullet in a straight line with the low drag setups that man I have to run this season. And we have to stick behind Pascal Wehrlein once again. The thing starting to cause a bit of a queue of cars behind us. Got the 2 Red Bulls, a Ferrari, Carlos Sainz. I think there might be one of the McLarens on the back of the queue as well. There we go, complete slide on there through turn 5. Now that's really going to kill the momentum now, trying to get a move on Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein's managed to pull away from us there because we completely slid away around turn 5. Now we've got Daniel Kvyat getting his slitching behind us. Is he getting enough? Coming into the end of the first sector, no, he's not getting enough, but now once again we are right back up behind Pascal Wehrlein now. And indeed we are starting to cause a bit of a queue of cars behind the Manor at this point, so this isn't the first time this season we've had problems getting past the Manors. Pretty much, you remember back to Spain where we're still behind Will Stevens for pretty much an entire stint before Manor ruined his pit stop, and then he dropped about 10 positions because 10 cars were still behind us in that train of cars. But now coming up through this sector once again, we'd have to stick behind Pascal Wehrlein. There's no way we can make a move through this sector. This is the problem with Singapore and Chase Hackett, really. I mean, it's great to watch all the midfield cars try and keep a battle with the top cars, but it's just frustrating for us because we can't keep with Pascal Wehrlein where we need to out of the tractions, and we just get completely swamped for some reason out of the slow speed corners. Now cutting a bit further on, we're still behind Pascal Wehrlein, gaining instantly now. Alex Rossi is just pulling away into the distance now, so Wehrlein doesn't have DRS off the back of Alex Rossi in front, so now we should be able to make an easy move on the Manor, but we're just not getting the traction now. Now we get a horrible run there out of turn 3. Then we've got John Van all over the back of us now. Now they're coming up down the DRS straight once again. Now we should have DRS on the back of Pascal Wehrlein once again, so that should be enough to keep us ahead of the Red Bull behind us. See, they're already right behind us. There must be something wrong with our car, because there's no way we should be still behind the Manor. There's no way whatsoever. The Manors were about 1.5 seconds slower than what we did in qualifying, so we've easily got the pace, and we're on softer tyres, so we're on grippier tyres, so there must be something wrong with our car at this point. We must be going this slowly. Is it gear 3? Because in gear 3 we just get no speed, we get no purchase, and we just bogged down in 3rd gear. So surely we must have a problem with 3rd gear. It's through 3rd gear, right? We do keep with Wehrlein there, so maybe it's not 3rd gear that's an issue, but there must be an issue with our car. We're going so slow now, down into 2nd, so the gearbox is still working fine in 2nd gear. Now up into 3rd, it must be 2nd gear. See how much Wehrlein has pulled away, so we must have a problem with 2nd gear in the car now. We've got Daniel Kvyat already just pretty much hitting the back of us there, pushing us along. We really have some sort of issue there with our gearbox in 2nd and 3rd gear. And well, you know, last season the BMW's reliability sort of tailed off towards the end of the season, and it pretty much looks to be the same here as well. Surely we have the gearbox issue now in 2nd and 3rd gear. The gears haven't gone, which is the main thing, so maybe it's just the gearbox are just desynced. And now we're right behind Pascal Wehrlein once again, so we're up to P10 now. So we are gaining position, so someone must have made a stop in all of this, unfortunately for them. Just stuck in this whole queue of cars behind. And now cutting on the end of lap 11, start of lap 12, we have DRS once again on the back of Pascal Wehrlein, so gaining in the slipstream and with DRS, but cutting his tail once again. We're just too far behind the German to be able to make a move, and this is completely ruining our race. And because we're the lead of the front running cars, so the 9 cars in front of us are all midfield or back market cars, so the Renaults, the Force Indias, Pascal Wehrlein, the 2 Hasses, maybe even Lewis Hamilton, because Hamilton should be doing what's up. So Hamilton could be in a very good position to try and even win this race with how slow we're going, stuck behind the back of the Manor. Coming in at the end of the first sector, once again we catch up to Pascal Wehrlein, but we're just not gaining enough on the back of the Germans to do anything about him. Now coming to this sector once again, we're just come to stick behind Pascal Wehrlein. So Wehrlein, once again, doing the absolute defensive. You're not even having to defend from us because we're just too far behind where it matters for Wehrlein for even to have to defend from us. Because once again, as you see, through 2nd and 3rd gear, we just lose so much time. And Daniel Kvyat tries to make a move on us, but then again, once we get into 4th, 5th gears, the higher gears, our straight line speed just kicks in and is enough to keep us ahead of Daniel Kvyat, which crucially is the car behind us. Maybe if we had Sebastian Buemi behind us, he should be long on him. Thankfully it is Daniel Kvyat and not Johnny Van, but now Daniel Kvyat can look behind him once again. There's a bit of contact there with the rear of our car coming up into the 3rd sector, and once again Daniel Kvyat just has to stick back. Imagine Daniel Kvyat getting very frustrated with us this one. Oh god, have you seen that entire queue of cars behind us? We've also got Daniel Kvyat there, we've got one of the Toro Rossos behind us as well. That must be Carlos Sainz. There's a whole queue of cars behind us. We've got Sebastian Buemi in this queue as well. Who else have we got? So there we've got John-Eric Vergne behind us, Will Stevens, then our teammate Sebastian Buemi, then the 2 Mercedes in there as well, Valtteri Bottas, It's like the other Toro Rosso, Max Verstappen, and then Fernando Alonso on the back of his queue as well. We're pretty much holding up. How many cars is that? There must be at least 9 or 10 cars, so we've pretty much got the entire grid behind us all queued up, because we can't get past the Manor, but we're fast enough so Daniel Kvyat can't get past us. Now cutting onto the end of lap 13, Pascal Wehrlein is now starting to pull away from us, so we must be having some serious gearbox issues now at this point, but somehow we still managed to keep ahead of Daniel Kvyat. But you can see there's just nowhere they can get past us at this point to try and make a move on us, because I'm sure if Daniel Kvyat got past us, he'd be long gone up the road by now. He'd easily got past the Manor and he'd be long up the road, but because we've just got enough straight line speed with the BMW engine, so the engine really is just carrying us in this race, because our gearbox is, hopefully it doesn't fail, but it's just like the problem's getting worse and worse. It's Pascal Wehrlein on slower tyres, they're pulling, we have to defend from Daniel Kvyat now coming into turn 1. Kvyat's going to try and hold it right around the outside. Just hasn't got enough to hold it round the outside, so once again we keep it ahead of Daniel Kvyat. See mushy there, you can just see we get no purchase in second and third gear. Daniel Kvyat's already right back behind us, so we have to defend from him once again, coming up into the end of the first section now, coming up into the second DRS straight. It's Daniel Kvyat close to trying to make a move on us with DRS. We should still have DRS off the back of Pascal Wehrlein, so that should be enough to try and keep us ahead of Daniel Kvyat for the time being. Now Daniel Kvyat's going to make a move to the inside now, coming up into the end of the second section. Daniel Kvyat's going to hold it up the inside, we're going to have to hold it right around the outside. Daniel Kvyat making a bit of contact there, wheel to wheel contact, now can try and dive it up the inside of Daniel Kvyat, and we just about made the move stick there. And Daniel Kvyat once again get back ahead of the Russian, and surely this whole queue of cars must be lapping, what, 3 at least seconds slower than what we should be. Now Kvyat's already right behind us once again, coming up into the old Singapore sling, but there's nowhere Kvyat can make a move on us, and the more we battle, the more this is going to allow Pascal Wehrlein to pull away from us, and Wehrlein could be off for some even more points at this rate if the whole queue of cars is stuck up behind us. Surely, hopefully on the next pit stop, there's something the Williams team can do to fix our gearbox. Now Daniel Kvyat all over the back of us once again. We've just got enough straight line speed. We have to defend to the inside though. But our straight line speed really is our saving grace in this race. If we had a Ferrari engine, or if we had any other engine, I'm sure Daniel Kvyat would be long past us by now. But now we are up into P6, so other cars are pitting. Imagine all the other cars are leaving it very long to make their first pit stop, so because they might even clear us at this rate. We're going that slowly. Pascal Wehrlein must have like a 2-second gap already to us, with me and Kvyat battling that much. And it's pretty much just ruining our races at this point. Our race is pretty much ruined anyway. There's no way we're going to win this race now, because all the other cars, you know, that they're already yet to stop, they're all just too far ahead. So once again, any chance of winning this race, once again have to defend from Daniel Kvyat coming into turn 1. Once again Kvyat just doesn't have enough of his car around to try and make a move on us. Now cutting all the way into lap 16, Pascal Wehrlein is still pulling away from us now. It's feeling like at least 3-second gap to us now. We are up into P5, so slowly all the other cars are making their pit stops, and slowly but surely they're all joining this queue of cars right behind us. They've not even got DRS on Pascal Wehrlein at this point now. And see our teammates in the pit, so Sebastian Buemi is going into the pit, so Buemi's going for an undercut on us now. So Williams trying to get Buemi ahead of us, because he wasn't pretty much in the middle of this queue of cars. And going to another set of super soft tyres there to take him to the end of the race. If he gets a good outlap here, Buemi should easily clear us now. It's like one of the Red Bulls have come in behind as well. So is that Daniel Kvyat or is that Jean-Eric Vergne? And that may have been Vergne that's come in as well. So Vergne and Buemi go for an undercut strategy, but here comes Valtteri Bottas in a race of his own. Of course, has to make that pit stop at the end of the second lap for the broken front wing, and he's going to come out in front there of Sebastian Buemi on soft tyres. So Bottas looking to go to the end of the Grand Prix on that set of tyres. They're cutting onto the end of the next lap. Me and Wehrlein are now coming in for our stops, and now hopefully the team can do a quick reset on the car to try and give us a fix. Try and fix our gearbox, because there's no way I can fend off Daniel Kvyat for the remainder of the race with a dodgy second and third gear, because the low gears are what you need around this track. If it was like 7th or 8th, I could manage that, because you don't really use the higher gears apart from down the straight. Now coming out of the pit exit, we're going to get jumped past Buemi. He's going to be side by side. Buemi's jumped us! Buemi has jumped us! So Buemi has gone about 3 seconds quicker on that last lap, but he's still behind Valtteri Bottas, who's now come out right in front of Pascal Wehrlein. So Wehrlein there being in front of us, that's crucial there. So Wehrlein now really is in a good position now for the remainder of the race. Now Bottas, it's going to be his time to try and make a move now on Pascal Wehrlein with DRS and slowstream coming up into the end of the first set. Is Bottas close enough to make a move? No, he isn't. Bottas has to stay behind Pascal Wehrlein, so it wasn't just me at least that's having problems with the back trying to get past Pascal Wehrlein. It seems Valtteri Bottas can't do it either, because Bottas has the more downforce because he's in a Mercedes, but he's also on soft tyres that have done 18 laps of the race, and Pascal Wehrlein is obviously in a slower car but has more straight line speed and grippier tyres, because he's just put on the same lap as us, so he's on super soft tyres to go to the end of this race. So that pretty much evens it out between the Manor and the Mercedes. It just through the corners where the downforce matches. It's where you can't get past through the second and third sectors here. Fair, how a team fits like, oh, once again, we drop away from Sebastian Buemi coming through that hairpin, so maybe our team haven't managed to fix our car, and it's going to be a problem that we have to manage now to the end of this race, but for the first lap, we can't really manage to tell if how broken our car is at this point, if indeed the gearbox is still an issue. So we're catching up to Sebastian Buemi here, through the third sector, through under the bridge. Once again, so maybe our car is fixed. It's just on the traction we just get our usual poor exits. So maybe the team have managed to fix the car in third and fourth gear there. Buemi just pull away from us a little bit, so that's still got me thinking that the team haven't managed to completely fix whatever's wrong with our car, the gearbox desync, because it hasn't broken, because we still have all our gear, so it's like the team haven't really managed to fix the desync. So yeah, but no good for a move. Up the inside of Sebastian Buemi coming into tail one, are we? Keep it side by side, but Buemi's just going to have enough to keep it round the outside, is he? Not to force Buemi round the outside, and keep it side by side with our teammate now. Coming through turn 3 to manage to hold it side by side with Sebastian Buemi, and we made the move there. In front of Sebastian Buemi, we're not going to give Buemi DRS now, try and get that past us. And once again, we get a complete slide on there. Through turn 5 now, Bottas once again. Right up behind the back, Pascal Verlaine, but Verlaine looks like he has a bit of a gun. Buemi's going to pull back to our inside now. Coming up into the end of the first sector, Buemi's going to try and hold it right around our outside, is he? And Buemi holds it right around our outside, outbreaks us, and Buemi gets it right back in front of us once again. So we try to move that, obviously have our teammate, so because we managed to try and move on our teammate, we should be okay, but Buemi's seen how easy he breathed back past us, so I think the car's semi-fixed, but not ideally how it should be. But the worrying thing is, we're only up into P17. Not even in the points of this rate. I imagine all the cars that start on the soft tyres are still yet to pit. I think there was 4 or 5 of them maybe that started on the soft tyres. I know Grosjean did, because he was leading the race at some point, so Grosjean's still yet to make his stop. Bottas is going to the end on his soft tyres, so we're going to be really low down in the points positions if it stays as it is. If indeed we do even get back into the points position, because we're still stood behind the man with Pascal Verlaine. So this is going to be costing us more and more time. That's what I mean, Buemi now is still trying to catch back up now to the back of Valtteri Bottas, who's still stood behind Pascal Verlaine. So Verlaine having the absolute race of his career. Imagine this and Canada. Maybe even Baku as well. Well, Baku got the better result, but Canada overtaking a worked Mercedes and a worked Ferrari. That's not something everyone does in their debut season in what was expected to be one of the slowest cars on the grid overall on a lap time. They're coming down into tail once again, trying to make a move, and Sebastian Buemi once again, we're just 2 behind Sebastian Buemi, there's Jean-Louis Vergne, and once again Vergne going through the overcut, and once again it hasn't worked for him, he's going to drop out right to the back of his queue now, behind his teammate, behind Carlos Sainz once again, Sainz and Vergne find themselves together on the same piece of track, and because they're all stuck behind Pascal Verlaine in this queue of cars, there's nothing that they can really do to overtake each other. You've seen this queue of cars, it's pretty much just following each other around the track. Coming up into the hairpin once again, Valtteri Bottas has actually started to drop back from Pascal Verlaine once again. Now once again we're all over the back of Sebastian Buemi coming up into the end of the first sector. Trying to move up the inside coming into sector 2, but once again we're just a bit too far back. Try and move that up the inside, you have to stick behind Pascal Verlaine once again, but Verlaine is just pulling away into the distance now. Sebastian Buemi is already all over the back of Valtteri Bottas. He's going to try and make a move coming up now into turn 8. But no, Buemi just thinks better of it, stays behind. But now we are up into P14, so slowly we are gaining back the positions. But still the question is, who's actually leading the Grand Prix and where's Lewis Hamilton in all this? Because Hamilton is going to move there up the inside of Sebastian Buemi there, keep it side by side with Sebastian Buemi on the exit now. Buemi on the racing line, should get a better traction now, keep it side by side with Sebastian Buemi now. Buemi's going to try holding now up the inside of us now, coming in, blocks us off there, gets a bit of a squeeze there to the inside, we can try holding it right around the outside now. On Sebastian Buemi now, keep it, we're on the racing line now, but Buemi should have the better traction now, and Buemi just about keeps it in front of us to get back up into P13. So as I was saying before we tried to make a move up the inside of Buemi. Question is, where is Lewis Hamilton? Because Hamilton could be in a very good position to even win this race, because I haven't seen him this entire Grand Prix except for the formation lap, and seeing he's doing a one stop, he may even come out in front of us how much time we've lost behind Pascal Verlaine in the first stint. Now cutting a bit further on, we're all up behind Sebastian Buemi once again. We're trying to come in from the Bottas, who made a move there. Pascal Verlaine coming up into the end of the first sector, trying to make a move off the inside of Valtteri Bottas, and we made a move to the inside of Sebastian Buemi once again. He managed to make the move there on a teammate. So Pascal Verlaine can try and stick with Valtteri Bottas through the third sector, try and make a move if he can keep close enough. But looks like Verlaine is just going to fall back now from Valtteri Bottas. Now we've made the move there ahead of Sebastian Buemi, which is the crucial thing. So now it's our turn to try and chase down Pascal Verlaine now, to try and take what's currently P11. So we're into P12. So whatever happens from now, barring of course we crash or our gearbox completely goes, we will be scoring points in this race. And the other main thing is we're ahead of Sebastian Buemi and our main championship rival, because the two Red Bulls are still also back behind us now, because there's still 10 laps of this race left to go. We go green through the second sector. So I think the team have finally managed to fix our gearbox, fix the desync, because we are going green through these sectors now. So we are actually playing some fast times now. So we managed to make a move there on Sebastian Buemi, so all should be good now to the end of the race. Now catching on to the back now of Pascal Wehrlein. Hopefully we can try and make a move on the back of the German this time. I mean, because Wehrlein's held us up now for what has been pretty much 15, 16 laps of this race. So Wehrlein, he pretty much knows how we race at this point. And I imagine that Manor showed him our 2014 race of how much we had to defend from Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel to take the win of that race. Now it's our green lap of the race now, gaining in the DRS on the back of Pascal Wehrlein, but of course Wehrlein still just about has DRS off the back of Valtteri Bottas and Fernando Alonso there, plus up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So Alonso looks like he found some pace in the race, but he's still stuck in that whole queue of cars behind us. So Alonso isn't going to be able to manage to use his pace advantage really to come to anything, because he's not even in the points at this rate. Now so again we're trying to get on the back now off Pascal Wehrlein, coming up into the end of the first sector. Once again trying to move to the inside now off Pascal Wehrlein, hold it now on the inside of the German, and we do make the move stick. So we finally, after 15, 16 laps, we finally managed to make a move on Pascal Wehrlein. Now Wehrlein has to worry about defending from Sebastian Buemi, the two Red Bulls, and pretty much every other car in the race, which is now queued up right behind him. But now we can try and chase down Valtteri Bottas now to try and take the lead, try and take what is currently now 7th position. So now we're right behind Valtteri Bottas now on the start of lap 23. Because Bottas on those soft tyres going to the end of the Grand Prix, one soft tyres going to the end of the Grand Prix, was again go a bit deeper the braking there, turn 5, that pretty much loses our momentum. But now we will have DRS still off the back of Valtteri Bottas now coming up into the end of the first sector. Obviously we are gaining, got so much overspeed of Valtteri Bottas, we're gaining enough to try and make a move. No, we do go powerful there through the first sector, so our car is definitely fixed now, so now we can try and push 100%. But now Romain Grosjean's out of the Grand Prix. Thankfully that's nowhere near us, so just see what happened there to Romain Grosjean. Grosjean looks to be like he's in front of us, so now we've got safety car. Safety car to point, that's exactly what we needed. To try and close up the field now, try and get close to the top 7 cars, well, top 6. We know we're really close to Valtteri Bottas, so the other 6 cars are looking at a replay of what happened to Romain Grosjean. So he's in a complete world of his own at this point. So does he have a crash? No, engine failure for Romain Grosjean and BMW power unit. That's going to be worrying now for us, because that's the 3rd engine failure for BMW, but all the engine failures so far have happened in the Haas. Now looking at the current order, see there Lewis Hamilton's leading the Grand Prix, Sergio Perez in 2nd in the Force India, and Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault currently in P3. Esteban Ocon there in 4th in the 2nd of the Force Indias, Alex Rossi there in 5th, Valtteri Bottas in 6th in the Mercedes, and ourselves there in 7th. So behind him then you got our teammate Sebastian Buemi there currently in P8. Then you've got Pascal Wehrlein there in 9th, ahead of one of the Red Bulls, which is Jean-Luc Verne. So Verne is ahead there of Carlos Sainz. Then you've got one of the Ferraris, I think it's maybe Sebastian Vettel as well. Is that Vettel? No, surely Vettel, because Hamilton's leading the Grand Prix, so that's Hamilton. Then we've got Will Stevens there, pretty much falling way down the order, just in front of his teammate Rio Haryanto. Then we've got Nico Hulkenberg, the 2nd of the Renaults, then Lars Stroll in the 2nd of the Manners. Now we'll slowly snake our way through the end of the first sector. Then we've got Adrian Sutil near the back of the grid, which we expect Sauber to be this season. And then behind him you've got one of the Toro Rossos. Why is Carlos Sainz so far? That's Sainz made the pit stop, surely. Then we've got Marcus Ericsson there. Then we've got Max Verstappen rounding off the back of the grid. Why are the Toro Rossos at the back of the grid? They're on for some for sure points. They're right in these queue of cars behind us. Now, have they just thrown away any chance of points? Now, going on to the end of the safety car, lap 26, so safety car stayed out for 3 laps, so I imagine that Grosjean put down a lot of oil on quite a few engine parts from that BMW power unit. Now we're right up behind the back of Valtteri Bottas now coming on to the restart. Lewis Hamilton will lead us to the restart. Now, green flag racing, so now we can try and make a move on Valtteri Bottas. We go right up behind him now, we should get the better traction because Bottas will have the slipstream off Alex Rossi in front, now coming down into tower, trying to move on Valtteri Bottas. Think about faking a move there to the inside, fill up his mirrors, trying to put him off. But once again, we're just a bit too far back from Valtteri Bottas, trying to make a move. Now, Pascal Wehrlein now has to do the ultimate defensive drive of his career, because you've got the 2 Red Bulls behind him, because the Red Bull and Manor polar opposites. Manor great in a straight line, terrible through the corners, and the Red Bull were terrible in a straight line, but the best car through the corners. Now gaining in the station now on the back of Valtteri Bottas, but once again we just fall a bit too far back. Bottas gaining in the station there on the car in front of the side. Alex Rossi going for a move there on one of the Force Indians. Now that slows up Valtteri Bottas, trying to move off Valtteri Bottas coming up into the 2nd sector. And once again we're just a bit too far back, but now Rossi makes the move there on the Force India. So imagine now he's going to try and chase down Daniel Ricciardo and then Sergio Perez, maybe even Lewis Hamilton. We saw Grosjean maybe was possibly even leading the Grand Prix with just in complete no man's land. So if Grosjean can lead the Grand Prix, then Alex Rossi in the same car can lead the race as well. We're coming up through the third sector once again. We have to stay behind Valtteri Bottas. There's no way we can make a move through this third sector here. And this is just really reminiscent to how it was last season, where we were still behind Valtteri Bottas on the final lap of the Grand Prix. And Bottas was battling with Nico Rosberg for what was P2, I think, at the time. Because Daniel Kvyat won that race, so Rosberg and Bottas were battling for P2. And we just had to sit behind there in P4 because we were just too far away to make a move. We're coming up through the third sector once again on lap 27, so there's not many laps left to go in this race for us to try and get past Valtteri Bottas and then try and get past Force India, because the Force Indias, much like the man, is already great there in a straight line. Now coming up through the third sector, the yellow flag's up in front, so someone had to crash up in front of us. Someone's making Lewis Hamilton's out of the Grand Prix. Hamilton, I don't believe it. Lewis Hamilton from the lead of the Grand Prix in that Ferrari is out of the race. Now if you get terrible exit out, the final corner, maybe getting a bit of a slide on over some of that oil. That will of course just come out the back of Hamilton's engine. Now Pascal Wehrlein is still ahead there. Obviously Red Bull's pretty much helped there by the yellow flags, of course, because the yellow flags you can't make an overtake, so that's pretty much Wehrlein saving grace for a bit longer. But now, can Wehrlein keep ahead of the two Red Bulls now coming up down the straight? Of course no DRS here, that won't be activated until the start of the next lap. But now, can Jean-Eric Vergne try and make a move on the back of Pascal Wehrlein? But no, Daniel Kvyat getting range station. No, Daniel Kvyat's actually going to make a move to the inside of Jean-Eric Vergne, coming up into the second sector. Can make a move on the inside of his teammate. He makes that stick, so that looked very orchestrated to me. Because if Vergne can't gain on Wehrlein, but Kvyat can gain on Vergne, that must have been some kind of team orders there. But now, quick on to the end of that lap. Daniel Kvyat is now right up behind the back of Pascal Wehrlein. Now coming into turn 1, can you make the move on the German? Can go side by side with Pascal Wehrlein, force Wehrlein out wide. And Daniel Kvyat there makes the move on Pascal Wehrlein. And now Wehrlein has to worry about defending from the second of the Red Bulls of Jean-Eric Vergne. Seeing he easily did it last lap, albeit team orders by Red Bull for to let Kvyat pass, which is what it looked like. There's no way Vern's going that slowly on merit to let Daniel Kvyat pass. Now can Wehrlein even get back past Daniel Kvyat, and especially now how fast this man is in a straight line coming up into the end of the first sector? No, Wehrlein isn't close enough to make a move, and now that should be Daniel Kvyat finally up ahead of Pascal Wehrlein after what's been pretty much a majority of this race stuck behind me and the German. Now we're up into P6, so we're up now into P6 with, of course, with Hamilton's engine failure, and we're still behind Valtteri Bottas, who's still stuck up behind the Force India, and I haven't actually seen what tyres that Force India is on yet. So if they're on super soft tyres, I'll explain it. If they're on soft tyres, then honestly we should be ahead. Or Bottas should be ahead, but of course Bottas has done 27 laps on the set time. We go virtually around the outside of Valtteri Bottas and run out very wide. Let's give Valtteri Bottas move his head, but Valtteri gets a horrible exit there out of the corner. Now they lose a load of time there, so someone's lost a bit of their front window. Pascal Wehrlein's going to move right around the outside of Sebastian Buemi. Go on Wehrlein, trying to hold it right around the outside now. Now my teammate Sebastian Buemi, Wehrlein's going to force him out wide. Now Wehrlein on the racing line is going to try and make a move on Sebastian Buemi, and Wehrlein makes the move stick on Sebastian Buemi. So once again, a great move there from Pascal Wehrlein, very opportunistic, much like the move he pulled off at Singapore. Try and get back ahead. Sebastian Buemi then makes a stick. And it's like him and Buemi starting to pull away now from Daniel Kvyat behind. So as Kvyat really had Kvyat got a bit flustered there, being overtaken by a manner, which is not something that was probably in Red Bull's game plan for this race. Let's see Kvyat just falling away from that. And the Kvyat's into the pits. Kvyat's having to pit. Why is Kvyat coming to the pits? Calamities there for Red Bull. Their lead driver in the championship having to pit with only 2 laps of this race left to go. Now can Buemi make a move on back to Pascal Wehrlein, coming to one and not placing up, and now Sebastian Wehrlein's going to go for a move up the inside of Johnny Vergne, so probably Vergne has got some car issues, surely. That's probably the reason why Kvyat got past so easily. Vergne must have some issues. Got one of the McLarens sliding, and now there's a huge contact behind one of the runners is spinning. There's a huge crash there with all the back of the cars. And somehow Lawrence Stroll has managed to get through that completely unscathed. Now looking at a replay of what just happened on board now with Will Stevens, so you can see there Sebastian Vettel goes for a move up the inside. Jean-Eric Vergne coming through turn 1, he's side by side there with the German, trying to make a move up the inside. Now Will Stevens goes for a gap there up the inside. Nice to be a contact there with the back of the Frenchman, particularly sliding, and then just connects with one of the rounders. There's a huge contact there with the 2 Saubers, the 2 Toro Rossos, and Lawrence Stroll just managed to snake his way through that whole queue along there with Fernando Alonso. Now cutting onto the final lap of the Grand Prix, Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault is leading the Grand Prix, with Alex Rossi hunting him down relentlessly in second in the Haas. Of course, both these under pressure to perform because they've both not had the greatest of seasons so far. Then we've got Sergio Perez in third in the Force India, and if Perez gets his third, this will be back-to-back podiums for Force India, which after their start of the season, which is not something they'd probably be expecting. We know Singapore, anything's possible in this race, just some of the craziest races in the past 3 races. Yeah, but now once again, Actually, it looks like Ocon's gaining on the back there of Sergio Perez, so Ocon getting back to Sergio Perez on the final lap of the race. Can Ocon maybe try and steal the podium position from Sergio Perez? Well, I imagine there'll be some sign of team orders from Force India surely, just to hold the 3-4 positions, because this will be crucial points for the championship. And if it's like this, Force India won't be that far behind McLaren in the championship, and even Toro Rosso not even in the points of this race, of course with that crash they had with the Sauber, so that's any chance of them getting points out the window. So this could prove to be a very crucial race come the end of the constructors at the final race in Brazil. Now checking me right outside of Valtteri Bottas coming through the third sector once again. We're just a bit too far back to try and make a move. So yeah, Buemi has dropped back now. Couldn't Buemi maybe has a bit of suspension damage or something from the contact with one of the Red Bulls? Now can move up into the end of the third sector once again. You have to stick behind Buemi now, so surely this is now very reminiscent to how it was last race, where you just have to stick behind Valtteri Bottas and just follow him around to the flag. So in P6, so not as good a position as we were in last season in P4, but the crucial thing is we are ahead of all of our main championship rivals once again. So despite us having a pretty lowly position of what's going to be P6, we're still going to gain in the championship as we're ahead of Buemi and the two Red Bulls. And indeed, Fernando Alonso just was also lucky to get through all that contact. Okay, around the final corner, looks like it's going to be a P6 finish for ourselves. But Daniel Ricciardo is going to win the Grand Prix for Renault and take Renault's first victory since Japan 2009. And there you can see the Renault boss is looking very happy with Daniel Ricciardo's work, and honestly, why wouldn't they be? Taking, of course, that's Renault's best result since Italy 2010, when Robert Kubica took third for the team. Of course, as I said, their first victory since Japan 2009. Taking a look at the race results, and Daniel Ricciardo would take his first ever career victory and Renault's first victory since Japan 2009, but only 3 tenths clear of Alex Rossi. He takes Haas's best result of the season so far in second, with Sergio Perez for Force India making it back-to-back P3s for the Mexican. His teammate Esteban Ocon will come home just behind in fourth, fending off Valtteri Bottas, who has a good recovery up to fifth after doing a forced one-stop in the race. We only managed sixth in the end, but crucially we did beat all of our championship rivals, including that of Sebastian Buemi. He finished 4 seconds behind us in the end. Sebastian Vettel with the lead of the Ferraris in 8th, and only the sole remaining finishing Ferrari, with Pascal Wehrlein holding on to that P9 ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne. So great defensive drive there from Pascal Wehrlein. Take some more valuable points for the Manor team. Rio Haryanto with half his starting position to come home in 11th for McLaren, and Lance Stroll, on only his third race in Formula 1, is now a point scorer and rounds off the final point for Manor in 12th. So for the first time in Manor's F1 history, they take a double points finish in a race. Moving on to the Drivers' Championship, and now with 3 points clear of our teammate Sebastian Buemi, on 169 points to his 166. So despite us beating Buemi, of course, where we finished in 6th and 7th, we only gained 1 point over our teammate. Danica Kvyat now is in third on 48 points, only 3 points clear now of his teammate Jean-Eric Vergne, is now 8 points clear of Fernando Alonso in 5th. Lewis Hamilton now in 6th is only 6 points clear of defending world champion Sebastian Vettel, with Valtteri Bottas in 8th on 69 points, 8 points clear of Rio Haryanto in 9th on 61. And there's quite a gap down to Sergio Perez, 25 points to the Mexican, with Daniel Ricciardo jumping all the way up into 11th now, doubling his points total now on 40 points in the Renault, with Esteban Ocon rounding off the top 12 in the second of the Force Indias on 36 points. Now moving on to the constructor standings. Now Williams are now 96 points clear of Red Bull here in second, with Mercedes in third, only 5 points clear of Ferrari. McLaren remain in fifth, but they're now only 7 points clear of Force India, and our Force India jump ahead of Haas by 12 points. And Haas now move ahead of Toro Rosso, who now move down to 8th, 4 points behind the Williams B team. Renault remain in a world of their own in 9th, and now they're only 11 points off 8th, so there's still a possibility that the team could take 8th in the Constructors. Manor remain in 10th now on 12 points. Now that's going to take some beating for Sauber on their 3 points, round off the end in 11th on the table. And now for my driver of the day, it's got to be Daniel Ricciardo. I mean, you could say Pascal Wehrlein for that epic drive he did to hold us up, but it's got to be Daniel Ricciardo taking a very, very unexpected victory. Well, that's what Singapore does, throws up a massive spanner in the works for the constructors and driver standings. So yeah, Daniel Ricciardo is definitely my driver of the day. So that's been the Singapore Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the race, subscribe if you're new, and vote for your driver of the day with the poll link that will be in the video description. And thanks for watching. See you all next time.